Good morning, world. Good morning, world. Yes. It's such a bright and beautiful sunny day, despite the mishap that's happened in California. I didn't know the matter was so serious until watching the news yesterday and discovering it was actually bad in California with those fires. However, today I came across a feed whereby this man had a beautiful sugar sculpture, and it's solidified. It's really gorgeous. However, he commented that he did not expect people to actually lick the sculpture to see if it's actually made out of sugar. Believe it or not, you have to actually see some of these people actually lick the sculpture. Not only that, it's just a little disturbing to watch. Well, anyway, let me know your comments, and would you lick any sculpture to see if it's what it's supposed to be? Let me know your thoughts.
Joseph's work has gone international. You can find his eye candy on display in Stockholm, Venice, Sydney, and Berlin.
Some exhibitions I've had where there's been one sculpture that's protected from humidity with resin and one that's not. I never expected people to eat the sculpture. I just thought it would be nice for them to see it. But then people just started licking it. And I was like, what are you doing? You don't know who's licked there before? Like, what are you doing? Like, nobody was afraid of that. It was weird. I just love the look on people's faces when they understand it's sugar, because most people don't actually know. And then when they hear that it's sugar, they go, what? And then they look at it again. And I think that makes them feel more part of it when they know what it's made of.
So how do you make these impressive sculptures?
I'm using 3D scanning. There's high-resolution scanners that get an amazing three-dimensional snapshot of reality, and that's really what I'm going for. I don't want my interpretation, my emotional interpretation of a human being. The actual technical process is step one, find your subject matter. 3D scan a person in a certain pose. Then you need to produce the 3D data into an object, like 3D printing. So then you have your positive, and it's just a physical representation of the data. Then you need to make a negative of that, and you use silicon. And then you need something to hold the silicon together, which is plaster and wood, and that's called the mother mold. And then you have to have a hole somewhere to be able to pour your sugar into, and you're cooking sugar and you're pouring it in. It's going into the hole and it's coming up, and there's all these bubbles and all crazy stuff happening, and then it fills up, and then you close it, and then you wait till the sugar actually hardens. It takes about 12 hours, and then there's time to open it, and then you hope that it actually worked and the sugar went everywhere into all the difficult parts of the mold. So there's also lots of trickiness with molds, air pockets and all that kind of stuff you have to look out for. Once you've done that, you open it up, you can take out your sculpture. Then I have to protect it like super fast. And if you do that, then you have a finished work. The cooking of the sugar process is interesting. You're generally just using the normal sugar you get from supermarkets, white refined sugar, mixing it with water, and then adding corn syrup or grape sugar. You have to cook it quite hot to 140 degrees, and then you can add color to it. That's the one secret I'm not going to divulge. Most people will just use normal food coloring. That will degrade over time. It will lose its color. So I've found some special color that doesn't degrade in the heat.
What are some of the challenges of working with sugar?
Working with sugar is a unique thing. It's incredibly difficult. I'm doubting myself sometimes. You have to be very careful with every step. It's actually like treating a living thing. You have to be so delicate with it so that it doesn't melt or it doesn't break. Temperature and humidity are affected greatly. Once it's made, it's quite solid and lives for a long time. The oldest sculptures I have are now 14 years old, and they're doing well. I like the challenge of making something that should be temporary, permanent.
And now to unveil Joseph's latest work, his most ambitious yet.
My next project is called Open Heart. It's going to be a giant sugar sculpture of a human heart, and in a park. It's actually going to be quite large, 2.5 meter high. It's the biggest thing I've ever tried to do. It's about putting yourself out in the open. So I'm putting my heart out there. I wear my heart on my sleeve, so it really fits well. We're going to cast the sculpture in the park. We're going to have to cook between 500 and 1,000 kilos of sugar on site on the day. 3 people at least cooking all this sugar for a good 12 hours. It's going to be epic. That's if it goes well. It's got to all work as well. It's all got to function. We'll stay there for 3 weeks and it will melt unless people come and ride generator bicycles to power an air conditioner inside the glass box. The air conditioner has to regulate that temperature, and it will not be connected to power. It will be only people riding bikes to actually power it. It has some kind of a living quality to it, and I'm relying on people's good nature. What the artwork's really about is just people coming together. The shift in doing the human heart, this is a different context for sugar. It's the qualities that sugar has to represent something living, because it changes. When it gets too much humidity and heat, it looks like it's dying. It's this living substance, so why not show life, a living thing like a heart? People are like, oh, what's this part of the heart? What's that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to know, because the mystery of life for me is the magic of everything. When you put your hand on your chest and you feel your heart beating, you have that sense of, this thing's keeping me alive, you know? And I love that's a magical thing. I think I really want to understand life. What are we doing here and what is going on, you know? And I think that's why I'm focused mainly on people and our experiences. If you talk to anybody, you will find that they've had some version of a transformation in their life. They've lost a loved one, or they've gotten married, or they've had kids. I found it very, very interesting to go into people's lives and to understand these transformations and then make an art object out of it. And it's a real test. It was really difficult, and I liked that as well, some challenge.
So what's the future for Joseph and his sugary creations?
What world, whatever his future creations involving sugar is, my question is, would you lick any art to prove what the substance, whatever it may be, is? Let me know your comments.